Ani Bojo, Kokoko Dejnakas. My name is Fred Belfoy. I'm the electoral officer, and welcome to the 2024 Candidates Night for Nipissing First Nation elections. I've been asked to host, as I have for many years now, the event. The process is fairly simple. It's being webcast over YouTube, I think, and it'll be recorded. So remind your people you talk to review it and look for it on the website. Each candidate will go in the order of the ballot and the notice of vote. It's the same thing, alphabetical order. Each candidate will have, for council, will have 5 minutes to speak. When you have 1 minute remaining, when you have 1 minute remaining, I'll give this a quick shake like this. Then you know you got 1 minute left to sort of wind down. And at 5 minutes, I'm going to drown you out if you don't. So each councillor candidate has 5 minutes to speak. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Then we're going to save the chief candidates for last. They get 10 minutes each to speak. And that should wind us up at about 8:30, 8:45. Probably a little bit less because it takes time to transition up to the stage. So without further ado, we'll introduce and have our first candidate for councillor step forward, Evette Belfoy.
Anishna, Wabshke Migize Nung Kwe Dejnakas, Nibzing Dodum, Makwador, Nibizing Dunjaba Makwadorum. My name is Evette Belfoy. I'm from Nipissing, and I've lived here for the last 30-some years. For those of you who don't know me, my parents were Albert and Eleanor Belair. My grandparents were Fred and Lita McLeod, and my great-grandparents were Joan and Edna Coochie. My father's family was disenfranchised 3 generations ago. I own an Indigenous craft supply store here on NFN and employ 10 people. Since 1998, I've worked on several committees and have extensive experience in working with the various levels of government. Past chief and councils have worked together to create the opportunities for Nipissing to be a progressive community. I want to contribute to that work and keep that momentum moving forward. Chief and councillors have to be strong advocates for the issues and concerns of our community, be transparent, and communicate regularly about the work they're doing. We need to look at the issues in a holistic way, at how our decisions will impact the people as individuals and as a community. Any decisions chief and council make must meet the needs and priorities of the community now and for future generations. To be a councillor, one must be equitable and accountable in the decision-making process. A councillor should be asking the hard questions and think carefully before making any decisions. I've got 7 priorities that I'd like to see for our community. The first one would be increased housing and infrastructure for their members to return home. NFN needs to invest in itself by creating and starting long-term sustainable competitive businesses that will create employment for its members and their families. Our language, culture, and traditions are also at the forefront. For our community to heal individually and collectively, we must learn and maintain our traditional ways that our ancestors struggled so hard to keep alive. Our language, culture, and traditions show us the strength of where we came from, who we are, and who we will become as a nation. Priority 4, we must defend our traditional territory from the Métis Nation of Ontario, the Algonquins of Ontario, and the Matawan North Bay Algonquins. We must also protect the funding that is intended for legitimate First Nations. We need to continue the ongoing work of our citizenship laws to ensure the future of NFN and its members. Another issue is addictions and mental health. We've lost too many of our people in the past few years, and we have to stop that. We need to protect our community and work at building successful long-term solutions. Transparency is essential so our members are aware of the issues and the work that we, our Chief and Council, are doing. I've had a lot of experience working with various levels of government in different capacities. I've learned how to be a strong advocate. I'm a team player who can problem solve, make decisions that are fair and impartial, but I am also the one to ask the hard questions. In order to facilitate the changes you want to see, as a voter, you have the power to create that change. Vote for the people you know who will work hard to start new tasks and continue the work already started as we move forward. Miigwech.
Miigwech, is Brian Coochie here?
Good evening to everyone who's here and online tonight. I'm Brian Coochie, a lifelong Nipissing First Nation resident. I'm not just a candidate, but a community member deeply invested in our shared future. I'm running for the position of councillor, and I'm here to ask you for your support when you vote online or at the polls on July 5th. If elected, I will bring the same dedication and commitment to the role of councillor, working tirelessly to represent your interests to make the community even a better place to live. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my family. I have 2 children and 5 grandkids, and I have another one on the way. My wife, Anita, passed away in 2021 after a 7.5-year battle with cancer. I started the Anita Coochie Memorial Charity Golf Tournament in her honor. This event raised over $32,000, which helped fund the North Bay Regional Cancer Care, providing much needed support to our community members battling cancer. Over time, I've seen significant steps taken to improve our community. However, we cannot rest on the past accomplishments. Over the years, I've proudly served in this community in various capacities, bringing my experience and dedication to every role. As an education manager for 33 years, I was instrumental in shaping the educational landscape of our community, implementing innovative programs and advocating improved resources. As a counselor, for 12 years, I've been a strong voice for the community needs and concerns, pushing for policies that have improved the quality of life. These roles have allowed me to make significant contributions and positively impacted our community. These achievements are a testament to your support and source of inspiration and hope for our community future. One accomplishment I'm very proud of is making Nipissing Secondary School possible. This school opened in 2000 and had many graduates, contributing to our community growth and development. I created the Student Awards Night to recognize our students' achievements throughout the school year. I initiated this Santa Claus Fund, which provided families with toys of all necessary and all the necessary food for dinners. Smiles and gratitude I have witnessed from families have been rewarding part of this endeavor. It is a testament to the positive impact that we can make when we come together as a community. It has brought joy to families, fostered a sense of community, solidarity, inspiring us to continue making a difference. I created the Student Awards Night to recognize our student achievements throughout the school year. This event has not only celebrated our students' hard work, but also inspired them to strive for excellence, contributing to our community overall growth and development. I started the Nipissing First Nation Charity Golf Tournament. This annual event united our community to raise funds for various charitable causes. At the time, funds went to the Nipissing Diabetic Chapter and our Santa Claus Fund. One of the most valuable lessons I have learned from my parents was the importance of giving back to the community that's always been there for us. The support and love of this community has shown me and my family are deeply cherished, and I'm committed to returning the favor every way possible. Your source has been a source of strength for me and a testament of the strong bonds that we hold the community together. In closing, I have worked hard on council. If elected, I will continue doing my duty to ensure that we keep moving forward. Working with the chiefs and councillors over the last 12 years, we accomplished a lot over the years, and I will listen to yours. Finally, I want to wish everybody good luck.
Cory Jangra, please.
My name is Cory Jangra, and I'm running this year to be one of your 7 council members for the election of 2024. I spent many years growing up within our community and eventually worked in the community building a rental place in Yellock for some of our members. I've also did some renovations before in the previous daycare before we upgraded to the new one. I have done a lot of work before in the summer maintenance programs where I was able to actually paint our original Zamboni we had for the youth. Currently, I'm in the process of actually starting a renovation business, and I'm actually a coaching manager for Nipissing for West Nipissing baseball for the youth. As a father of 5 children, ages 2 to 17 years old, and a husband, I pride myself in being family-oriented and motivated. I understand the importance of teaching our youth and bringing forth anything in the community to help them grow as individuals by creating opportunities for the children to thrive and achieve. As a member of your council, I understand the duty of the voices of all the members on and off reserve, and my goal is to do exactly so by transparency, opportunities, and accountability. My plan as your council member is as follows: building more affordable homes for members to help the rising homelessness and inflation of the world today, gauging interest of the youth in the hockey team by creating a hockey team, baseball teams, more day camps, family activity days, trips, or more, and bringing more jobs to our community that members can access more easily. We have faced many different challenges over the years, and my goal is to build up as much as I am capable doing as a council member for your community. Chi miigwech.
Priscilla Goule, please come up.
Okay. My name, Bojo. It's nice to see those of you who were able to make it here this evening, and welcome to everyone who is watching online. I'm honored to be standing before you tonight and potentially serve as one of your band counselors. Priscilla Goule and Dejnakaz, Tiganing Donjaba. My grandparents were Christine Frank Bocage on my mother's side and Charles and Clara Goule on my father's side. My parents were Susan and Ted Goule. My husband, whom we've been together for the past 3 years, is Alexander Maloney from the Indian Brook First Nation in Nova Scotia, and together we have 3 beautiful children. Growing up, I watched how my parents took care of us in our home. I was always amazed and inspired with their strong work ethic. We grew up with very little, and as most of us know in that generation, no times were difficult, and so people had no choice but to live off the land. And coming from a family of 10, There was a lot of work my parents had to do in order to raise us. Until now, I've often reflected on the challenges of raising a small family of 3, but the thought of managing a family of 10 is truly incredible. Just to bring you back to the days as a child growing up in Garden Village, and I'm sure that there are many memories for each of you wherever you have lived. Here in Garden Village, everyone knew each other. I recall the summers being bright and sunny in the month of April, which is not like today. We played outside a lot. In the summer months, we spent so much time swimming all days long and skating and sliding in the winter all over the place. No one really minded if we stayed out all day. Those times were safe, so safe that we were also able to ride our bikes or walk home safely at night. Before I go any further, I want to acknowledge the elders in our community and our knowledge and language keepers. It's unfortunate that I am unable to speak our language, so I praise all those who do speak it and are passing along our tradition and culture. I also want to say chimigwech to the individuals who nominated me. I am truly honored, and whether elected or not, I will do my best to make you proud. In addition, I would like to express my gratitude for all the hard work our past chief and council. I know that things were challenging over the past year, and of all the work and time that they have dedicated to making life better for all of us certainly does not go unnoticed. So miigwech to each of you for all your efforts. In my work life, I am an employee at the Anishinaabe Nation in the Health Secretariat. I've been there now for the past 33 years, and I've worked in a number of different program areas, which helped me to become familiar with issues in education, treaty research, communications, social development, and health. Also, hearing about many political issues over the years has given me a good sense on what is going on throughout the country and within our own First Nations. The majority of my work has included administration, coordination, graphic design, and recently managerial. Over the years, I have been grateful to have met so many people and connected with other First Nations in our territory. From the many events I attended, I bring with me a good network of people and a good understanding of the issues which are similar to what has and isn't taking place in our community. If elected as councillor, I don't expect things to be easy. Make no mistake, it's not easy for any leader to make the choices and decisions that are needed for the betterment of all of us. We may not always like what is happening, and that's okay. I've always believed that whatever the opinions, whether negative or positive, they are all important and worthy of being heard. We all know there are concerns. There are issues surrounding the RHT, health and mental wellness, housing, protection of our lands and rights. It will take much effort, and there's much to learn on my part, but I will give it my best. I am a strong believer, and I'm wholeheartedly committed to working and ensuring that we progress together. We need to help each other where we can, help our family, our friends, and our neighbors. We can move together as one and in a good, positive way with respect and care for one another. We have it within each other to bring our community back to a safe, happy, and healthy place as we have had in the past. As a council member, I will put every effort I have to advocate on your behalf, whether on reserve or off reserve. For those of you who know me and for those of you who have yet to know me, I come from a good place of respect, honesty, kindness, and care. I truly believe in the protection of our home, our community members, regardless of who they are and the path they are walking on. I'm grateful, humbled, and honored to be here this evening and look forward to new change. Remember, we are the land, the people, and the future. Miigwech, and all the best of the luck to the other candidates. Thank you.
Miigwech, Roland Granger, please.
Anin. Nipissing, the Ben Dogs Award. Roland Indigenous. Nipissing and Donjaba. Micanock and Dodam. Hello, people of Nipissing First Nation. My name is Roland Granger. I am here today to talk about Oh, wait, sorry. I'm from Turtle Clan. I'm here tonight to talk about my platform, things I wish to do for my community. It hasn't always been easy for me to do these things. I was raised off reserve in a low-income family. I come from a lineage recently disconnected from our culture, but I still try my best. I try to come out and be in the community as much as I can. Firstly, I want to prioritize clear communication. That is the most important thing and the base of a strong community. Secondly, I'd like to modernize the NFN portal and administration websites to make them less difficult to navigate, which I've seen is a common issue online, as well as add a community forum to the portal that would function much like the Facebook groups that we always use. That we wouldn't have to worry about any non-members using these to gain access to confidential information. It would also allow more expression of free speech for any members that cannot be there in person. Third, I believe that an elementary school is of very big importance for our community, because currently our kids go off reserve, grades 1 through 8, and and when it comes to going to high school on reserve in Nipissing, many children intend to stay off reserve due to the friendships they have formed in their first years of life. Going through puberty, it is not easy making that switch. I had to go through that myself, because when I went on reserve in grade 9 for Nipissing, I decided that I would rather be at West Ferris because of the people I had met. I later realized the importance of my culture at Nipissing for grade 12, where I graduated. I believe that if we build an elementary school, it will bridge that gap, and children will understand the importance of their culture and the revitalization of their language from a young age. Fourth, I want to establish a free public transit system that would run from here in Garden Village all the way to North Bay to bring together the communities and off reserve members in an easier manner that wouldn't involve cars. It would help increase business. It would bridge the gaps between communities and off reserve members. And it would, most importantly, make it so people that come from a low income background, such as myself, don't need a car to get out here and to be a part of the community. It would also bring youth out here that are from off reserve, as they wouldn't need their parents' cars to bring them out here. It could. Finally, sorry, a bit nervous. Finally, I want to make a big thank you for your trust and your belief in me for all members. Being so young, I never thought that I would be taken seriously running for council. I want to bring youth and every generation together in the council chamber so all of us have a voice no matter where and when. Chimigwech.
Thank you, Roland. Anthony LaForge, can you please come forward?
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. I'd like to wish everybody good luck, all the other candidates that are, hi Joan, that are available and here today, and we're going to listen to. And I'd like to thank all the other candidates, or not candidates, but councils that decide not to run again. So thank you for that effort, and thank you for serving. My name is Anthony LaForge. When I was born, my name was Anthony Stevens. Most of you know me as Tony. But, my mother was Bonnie LaForge, and my grandparents were Alex Stevens and Agnes Penasse. My great-grandmother was Margaret Goule, and my Mishomis that raised me pretty well was Tom Stevens. So just to let you know, that's who I am. I started my First Nation career here with Joan, Kathy, Marissa, and Juliet in 91 or 92, I believe, or something like that. It's been 33 years now, and I'm still going. It's been a great ride, and we've managed to accomplish many things in this time. 33 years, I've been in probably 70, 80 First Nations in the province alone of the 134. So I've witnessed, how things operate in the First Nations. I've worked for many leaders as well. So I have a lot of understanding about First Nation governance and administration. I understand discretionary funding, capital plans, land use studies. I've created many strategic plans and protocol. And governance now, what I've experienced lately is truth and reconciliation, the calls to action, 94 calls to action. Call to action number 92 is for business to create a reconciliation policy to work with First Nations more. So corporate policy, they have to adapt the UNDRIP, United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, and utilize that as policy when engaging First Nations in our traditional territory and our treaty. So that's those are very paramount to us moving forward. I'll talk about some of the things that interest me because I did work housing here for a few years, so I was project manager for a few houses. So I feel that we need to find a better solution to band member home ownership. We had a program back here 30 years ago when I worked here. It was a revolving program. We were building 6 to 8 a year, and I'm not sure when that was changed. That was away, but I think we need to get back to the pride of ownership and being citizens of the community. Because there's too many band members that are paying other people's mortgage. It'd be nice to, the pride of ownership is very, as some of you know, it's very real. And I'd like to see that more here too as well. So traditional territory, land use mapping, it's all paramount to exercising our rights within traditional territory. So this kind of leads to own source revenue. I'm a strong believer in own source revenue within your traditional territory. I believe everybody within our traditional land use mapping, traditional territory is a potential partner. Okay, I've made many of these agreements, and they're very vital to protecting and exercising our rights in our traditional territory. For example, like I'm talking about forestry, mining companies, etc. For example, up the river, Sturgeon River, there's a few mining companies up there. I would love to create an exploration agreement with these mining companies. Because as there's in our traditional territory, once that mine kicks into exploration, kicks into an actual mine, then you have them on the hook for an impact benefit agreement. And in those agreements comes a compensation, cash, benefits, accommodation, you get education dollars, cultural, community development, infrastructure, and employment. So I'm a strong believer in partnerships. It's, the metaphor of breaking one arrow, it's a lot harder to break 3 or 4. So it's just that you get better political advocacy at the ministry as well. So I've been on many committees and boards over the years. I'm the former founding president of Shwe-Mi-Kun Corporation, Construction Corporation, which is a 3 First Nation-owned construction corporation on Highway 69, Shawanaga, Magneto, and Head Inlet. I'm the board member for MAG. We just signed an agreement with Atkins Realis, and we've been partnered with Miller for 12 years now. So what we're trying to do is get all ducks in a row so we can bid on the whole project. Highway 69. So now we have Atkins Realis, now we've got a bridge builder, so we can bid on all that. So there's 3 First Nations traditional territory, so that we have to really go after all those kind of things. So I'm very strong on that. Exercising and protecting our history, our treaty rights, which are negotiated, Indigenous rights, which are inherited. I believe in protecting all our environment. At Magneto, when I created the first species at risk First Nation program in the country, and now it's spread across the country. Merci beaucoup, and thank you very much. Evette.
Thank you, Anthony. Can Jason Lerone please come forward?
All right, just got to get set up here. That's all. Hello, everyone. I don't have time to run through my family, but I will tell you that I'm part of the Coochie clan, Larvier, Commanda, Roland, even have ties with Oka Reserve. So if you want to talk to me later about our family, I can share more about that. Guess I'm a bit OG hawk, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So, Ani, Bizin Nishnabeg, Badajma Dishnakaz. I'm honored here today. I'm honored here tonight, both in person and to our folks online. Tonight, I stand here before you with a heavy heart. I'm here to address a matter that weighs heavily on our hearts and minds, the escalating issue of addictions. The alarming rise in death and suicides in our community is high, higher than we need them to be. This crisis, believe it or not, affects every one of us. And at the time we face it, the urgency and commitment it demands on us as a whole. I had another speech that I worked on. However, at the last minute, I decided I'm going to focus in on this one. And after meeting with many of our citizens, I feel I must advocate on this important issue, which I think we're not really addressing. And I think every one of us here that's here today, and hopefully the people online know that when you come to our community, you'll see it. Right now, we are in a huge crisis. This addiction is a formidable adversary. It does not discriminate by age, gender, or status. It infiltrates our homes, shatters our families, and takes away our loved ones far too soon. In the past few years, we have witnessed heartbreaking increase in overdoses and suicide. These are not just stats. These are our brothers, our sisters, our children, and our friends. Sorry if I'm a little bit emotional about this. Each life lost is a tragic reminder that we are in the midst of a crisis that cannot be ignored. Having experienced this with my own family, I know how this feels. Moving forward, firstly, we need to enhance our support systems. This means increasing access to mental health services, addiction treatment programs for both on reserve and off reserves. It means providing our healthcare workers with the resources needed to help those in crisis. We must ensure that every person struggling with addiction has a safe place to return, where they can find the support and care that they need to start their journey to recovery. But treatment alone isn't enough. We must focus on prevention, education. I might be dating myself, but I remember when I was in school, tobacco and cannabis strategies were vetted through our school systems at our time as education against those things that are harming our young people. We have bigger issues right now than that. We need to find better ways to inform our youth. And it's not just our youth. It's our parents and our family members too. We need to inform them about the dangers of addiction and provide them with the tools they need to support their families. As a parent, you may not know how to deal with these issues, so we need to support the parents too and the family members. In addition, we must invest in our community's future. Economic development and job creation are crucial. When people have hope for a better future, when they have opportunities to succeed, they are less likely to fall in the trap of addiction. In my platform online, you'll see on my website, if you go there, you'll have more knowledge on what my platform is, which I deviated from for today. I talk about the trades in my platform and the future of sustaining a good livelihood for our young people. We need to provide training, employment opportunities to break the cycle of poverty and despair that often leads to substance abuse. Lastly, we must remember that the importance of our culture and traditions, our heritage is a source of strength and resilience. By reconnecting with our roots, we can find a healing purpose. Let us incorporate our traditional practices and values into our strategies for combating addiction. Let us honor our ancestors by taking care of each other as they took care of us. This is a collective effort and we must work together. Tonight, I ask for your support, not just in this election, but in the ongoing fight against addiction. Let us commit to facing this challenge head on, to establishing strategies that will eradicate eradicate this crisis from our community. Together, we can build a future where our people are healthy, hopeful, and thriving. Chimigwech.
Is Michael McColeman here? Michael McColeman? Okay, we'll give him a chance if he comes before the end of the night, but we'll move on for now. Is Ron Penasse here?
Hello, my name is Ron Penasse. Anin, Ron Benashi, Dishnakas, Taganing, Donchpa. Today, I would like to, first off, I'd like to thank Joan McLeod, Shabagijik, for nominating me for council. My mother, Margaret Penasse, was chief of Nipissing First Nation, and it's with great honor and pride that I stand here today to run for council in my community that I've lived in the majority of my life. I currently reside in Garden Village with my wife, Candace, and my son Cruz and my daughter Faith, who support me 100%. I also experienced living off reserve while obtaining education. Whether you live on or off reserve, I'd like the opportunity to be your voice in the community table. If elected, I will work collaboratively with council and communicate and be transparent with all band members. I know the members of this community and the community values we practice. I'm currently employed with Hydro One. I have a strong background in corrections and working with addictions and mental health. I have worked in closed and open custodies for youth, as well as shelters, and having gained experience with working one-on-one with people in crisis. We are living in a tough world where mental health and addictions are on the rise. 25% of Indigenous people in Canada suffer from addictions, compared to 25% general population. And suicide rates in Indigenous youth are 6 times higher than non-Canadian populations. If elected as your councillor, my platform is simple. I will make our communities safe again. I will use my education and past work experience with mental health and addictions to help reduce the drugs in the community. There need to be stricter consequences. We also need to stop enabling and start fixing the problems. We need to develop a drug strategy to act now. We also need to control the communities by getting rid of the drug dealers that are selling these fatal drugs. We need to communicate with those in crisis and offer help and advice. We need to celebrate those who succeed in recovering and provide them support and aid with training and jobs. An individual can change the world around him or her within its change, but by right in thoughts and actions and acceptance, they can change it themselves. Part of my plan to reduce drugs in our communities involves getting the youth active. I have worked with Aboriginal youth from all over Canada, including Nunavut, Labrador, and Quebec. Youth that are involved in sports are actually linked to positive development and a decrease in criminal behavior. They're also more likely to attend post-secondary education. I have 20 years experience of volunteering with the North Bay Bulldogs football team, and I've attended many sports training seminars. I would use my training and experience and skills to get our youth involved in sports. If elected, my goal would be to focus on the future generations and assist them with being involved in a positive and healthy environment. Our members deserve better communication when it comes to major expenditures. Members should be informed before going forward with expensive projects. In today's economy, we need to reevaluate the housing loans. Our loan limit needs to increase to prevent construction of substandard homes. The current housing loan maximum is $300,000, which today in the economy does not go along with. We need to develop a logical model to find a way to help homelessness with band members. If elected, also, I would push to revenues for Christmas distribution to be increased. We need to look for valuable business opportunities also to produce revenue and employment opportunities for our members. We need to continue to support and promote our cultural department. This includes instilling pride in our people who are the people who we are. Workshops to teach the traditional beading, basket making, hunting and fishing in a sustainable manner to continue for future generations. We need to have more social activities for elders also in the community, bringing us all together. It is important to make sure that our elders live their lives in our community in comfort and receive excellent care from our own people. If elected, I will communicate and be open and honest with information to all our members. Thank you very much. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Ron. Is Mary Joanne Picard here?
Oh, I gotta put my glasses on. Sorry. Hi, my name is Joanne Picard. My mom is Barbara Coochie Joler. My grandmother, grandfather were Edna and John Coochie. I am seeking a seat on the council with 6 other members and a new chief. All working for you, the members, and you must be saying, why would I vote for you? I have some experience on the board. I was in Florida. I was on the planning and zoning board for 10 years. So I have a little knowledge of how voting and seconding and reasonings happen for that. So I need answers just like you. Silence is not acceptable anymore. What happened to the lamb claim we were promised 10 years ago? And why do they keep spending money out of that claim? Why do they have to keep 100 million in the bank? Why can't they redistribute and lower that amount and give it back to the members? We've all needed. Another thing is, why were we forced to get a 75% payout? We all had a chance. No, we never had a chance. It was already decided. All those meetings we went to were for completely nothing. If we can change the outcome, I will be the first to change it. Where did the money go for the government for the COVID we got? We got small bags of groceries at the end of our driveways. The crows used to peck at. They weren't delivered directly to our door. The off-reserve members didn't get anything, until they distributed the grocery cards. I also agree that all off-reserve students should get more compensation than on-reserve students. Housing is expensive, and I'm sure a little more would be very welcome on making it easier to focus on school without having to get 3 jobs to support themselves. I think we need to start fresh and figure out what's happening, leave the dictatorship out, and get people who are willing to work with all band members. We need to know where all the money is going and how it is spent. I won't make any promises I can't keep. I will always be truthful and open, even if it's not what you want to hear. Thank you.
Miigwech, Joanne. Is Joan McLeod Shabi here?
Because last year I was one of those people that Fred shook up the thing out of me. So I said, I'm coming prepared here. So for all of you that don't know me, and I see a lot of people I do know here tonight, my name is Joan mcloud shab Anin Bujo. I'm a proud Nipissing Nishnabekwa. I believe our nation is very strong. And I work in history, and I want to prove that from time immemorial, that's what our people were. Heron is my dodomeg. I've lived in Nipissing here in Garden Village all my life, except for when I went away to school, and 1.5 years when I was 19 and worked for Indian Affairs in Ottawa. Didn't like the city life. I have one daughter. She resides in Virginia with my son-in-law. There, I'm getting scared again. Stephen. They lead a very nice life down there. My parents, for all of you that might not know me, was Lita Coochie Shab and Fred McLeod Shab. They believed in community service through volunteerism. They taught their 18 children that volunteerism is a time very well spent for the betterment of our people. I believe in volunteer work, and it should be a part of everybody's daily life. My personal pursuit in Nipissing Dodomig research, that's my passion. I hope y'all come out tomorrow. It's Heritage Day, and we got some nice exhibits for you. That's my plug. I am passionate about Nipissing history. I research archives, libraries, and any published work on the Nipissing people. My post-secondary education was with Nipissing College, and I was conferred a BA by Laurentian University. And in 2020, I was conferred by Nipissing University a doctorate of letters. I was employed as your land manager for 37 years, and I think I did a good job. I did land repatriation and land claims. They were my big thing. And I added land base to your reserve, and I historically documented and earned you a lot of money that went into trust. But I also felt that, you know, the settlement of land claims, they're sort of a little bit skewered, but now they're getting more and more to our benefit, and we should look for those opportunities. Currently, I'm serving my first year as a counselor of Nipissing. I loved every minute of it. I enjoyed being the strong voice on council. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes we didn't all agree, but I was one of them. If nobody agreed with me, I just said, well, I have to support my council. That's how it goes. But I believe in decision-making based on the needs of our people. My current chairperson portfolios are the Economic Development, Powwow, and Policy Committees. I am a trustee on the 2013 Nipissing Boundary Trust, so if you ever want to know anything about it, just come over and ask me. And I'm on the current negotiation team for settling the land. There's 109,000 acres we can get to add to our land base. So that's something that's happening. And I just want to say that negativity breeds contempt. So let's all be happy and enjoy ourselves. And it's Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth Day, slavery and all that's been abolished. And it's freedom for each individual to talk about what they want. I appreciate the people coming up here. It's hard to talk in front of your people and tell them that you want a seat on their council representing them. I respect everybody for that. I also, if I'm elected, I want to ask the next chief and council, if I sit there, if I could sit on the health committee. I believe that patient rights are something that we could talk about on any forum of health. So I'm just asking you for your support and to support my candidacy for my second term. Thank you very much. Miigwech for giving me this time.
Miigwech, Joan. Is Eric Rick Stevens here?
Good afternoon. As Fred said, my name is Rick Stevens. I've been on council for 30 years. Again, this year, I'm asking for your support in the election. In those 30 years, I've learned a great deal about Nipissing First Nation and the members on and off reserve. I too lived off reserve for a time. I also lost my status because of the Indian Act. And I know what everybody feels like off reserve and people that lost their status and got it back. One thing I know for sure is we're all Nipissing Nation people. I have always advocated for Nipissing members on and off reserve, also their spouses and children of band members. Over the years, with support from Chief and Council and staff, we have made many advances. For children, we've built hockey rinks, baseball fields, playgrounds in 3 communities, and children are very important, so that's why I mentioned some of the things we've done for them. Before I was on council, chiefs and council before I set the direction they wanted to see Nipissing in the future. And I've always kept that in mind. Some of the accomplishments the last chief and council has done is we've planned for seniors assisted living buildings. Right now, we're building 20 units, 10 in Descheny and 10 in Garden Village. We've also ratified Constitution and governance. With this, these will help Nipissing move forward in the future. It'll create where we'll have increased band support funds to help run our nation and put us on a more equal base as non-First Nation communities. Working with Nipissing Health Service, we've built new programs and better programs. Only promise I'll make to everyone is I'll work for Nipissing as hard as I can and each and every one of our members on and off reserve. I work towards continuing to move Nipissing ahead in the future. I have always done what I thought was best for Nipissing. Whenever I was asked for help by on a band member's issue, I would go over and try as hard as I can to help them out. And again, anyone can call me at home or on my cell phone at any time, preferably not 3 o'clock in the morning. I treat every Nipissing citizen the same, whether they're on reserve or off reserve. Because, like I said, we are all Nipissing band members. This year, when you vote, I ask you keep one vote for the second last name on the ballot, Rick Stevens. Miigwech, thank you.
Miigwech, Rick. Samantha Stevens, can you come forward, please?
Anin Kinawea, Nbish Bisan Dejnakas, Nabizing and Donjaba, Kitaganing and Donda. Hello, my name is Samantha Stevens, and I currently live in Garden Village with my partner, Ian Campo, who is the youth mentor for Nipissing First Nation, as well as 3 of my 4 children. My parents are Patrick and Marie Stevens. My grandparents are Lauren and Margaret Nee Dokis Stevens. My grandmother's from Dokis. Chimi Gwetch for this nomination and for allowing me the opportunity to seek support as a voice for the Nipissing First Nation Council. Some of you may recognize me from working around Nipissing First Nation, from volunteering at the Diners Club or the Homemakers Club, from around ceremony and various and different functions and events, or from my business, Gokmis Creations. I have just over 12,000 followers on my Facebook page for my business. I've worked in many departments of Nipissing First Nation over a span of 20 years and spent most of my life in Garden Village. My over 10 years experience working in accounts receivable within finance has given me much knowledge of the federal and provincial funding models and processes for our beautiful nation, as well as grassroots initiatives and projects, which I think are very important. These experiences have also made me very familiar with the many policies of Nipissing First Nation. Some of the other departments that I've worked in for Nipissing First Nation have been infrastructure, maintenance, groundskeeping, economic development, just to name a few, housing, forestry. Within these departments, I've gained great knowledge of the geographical area of our beautiful land. I've gained knowledge and experience on how to properly care for our traditional medicines, as well as our very precious resources in areas that need to be protected. I'm very familiar with our waste management, our services such as waste management and water and sewer infrastructure. I'm aware of communities that are in extreme need of these services and areas that will have these needs in the future, as I've become very familiar with the capital plan while working with infrastructure. While working with economic development and finance, I also had information on how to access and acquire both federal and provincial funding via grant and proposal writing and funding applications. I'm very familiar with grassroots fundraising, both personally and on a community level. I'm pretty familiar with the processes of traditional medicine and sustainable harvesting for culturally appropriate business developing and farming. I feel that there's a great need to provide infrastructure that encourages agriculture and other forms of business that will serve our community and members off reserve as well. We buy a lot of our food from grocery stores that come from all over the place. Investing in our own food production will alleviate financial burdens, both related to health problems for Indigenous people as well as the grocery bill. Again, this could serve both on and off reserve. I've worked in housing. I actually currently live in band housing, so I'm aware of the struggles that there are to acquire loans on the reserve, how it works for a lot of allocation, how you need funding, the applications just to get into the housing alone, the demand that we need for housing. Again, like I said, I worked in forestry, so I'm familiar with Nipissing's historic logging operations. In October, I will be 7 years sober, and I'm going on my 3rd year of owning my own company called Gokmis Creations. I'm a Gokmis to 3 grandbabies and my oldest who lives off reserve. I'm living proof that recovery from drugs and alcohol is possible. I'm living proof that this is possible, this recovery is possible at home. These lived experiences have also given me a specific perspective on battling addiction and living a healthy recovery at home. I feel that community policing would be something that would be very important for Nipissing First Nation. I'm just going to skip right to, I feel that I've lived off reserve and my kids only acquired status a few years ago. So I feel a position in the band that could serve all members, hooking up off reserve members with services that they have in their community. And if they get denied, then to change our policies to serve all band members. 5 minutes isn't very long at all. And I will fight for all of us. I will fight against fraudulent claims for our traditional harvesting lands, and I will speak out against band members encroaching and harvesting our resources. I will fight for us. Ganin, Ginwin, not me, all of us. Chimigwech.
Miigwech, Samantha. We'll ask Michael McColeman to come forward. Michael, you weren't here at the beginning. I explained that when you have 1 minute left of your 5 minutes, I give this a quick, and then at the end, I shake it lots.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael McColeman. I have a family history in Nipissing First Nation here that dates back to 1918. Joseph Lerone met Elizabeth Goule way back then and married in Sturgeon Falls. They had 13 children. One of them was my mom, Alma Mary Lerone, which then met my dad, Raymond John McColeman. They married. 7 of us were there. And here I am. My career started at a young age of 17. I left home and joined the military, went overseas for 5.5 years as a field engineer, and came back home to Shallow, Manitoba, where I spent my last 1.5 years recouping. I got my corporal stripe 6 months in advance. I excelled in my career as a corporal. And after the military career, I got hired and worked for CN Rail. I was a steel gang foreman for 12 years of the 30 that I worked. I retired in 2016. And from there, moving forward, I have experience and knowledge of being a leader in all aspects. I also worked here in Nipissing First Nation in your community. I helped paint and strip down the old paint off the old building to match the new building that was built. I also drove for medical services for Lawrence Commanda Health Center. I worked at the Monoghan Greenhouse for 6 months until my contract ended on March 30th. So I've also, got used to working with the people here and enjoying them. And I also volunteered for the diners for 3 years on and off. I will try to do my best to resolve any issues and concerns brought forward to Council in Chief. I want to say to the members that live off the community that I will be your voice if I'm voted into Council. And treatment as a whole should be equal to all Nipissing First Nations who live in our community and live off our community. Like myself, I don't live here in your community. I live in Sturgeon Falls. And I know there's a lot of people that live off the reserve or in the community, and they need the same treatment as we receive here. What makes us any different than you? If you live here or off, there is no difference. Okay, and I don't want to see, which I've seen it a couple of times, and well, my wife is Native too. She was from Nipissing First Nation, and denied house cleaning and everything because we don't live here. Okay, we have to straighten that out. We have to be all the same, community and off in the community. Okay, no discrimination at all. Everything has to apply to every single person the same. I will be your voice if I'm elected. I know there are issues and concerns that are very important to be resolved of this day. And I know there's past issues and concerns that need to be resolved that haven't been yet. Okay, I don't want to see people bringing us issues and concerns and fall to a deaf ear and no voice for them. And then they're wondering, okay, has my issue and concerns been brought up? I don't know this. Has it been put in a newsletter? Something been told them? Some kind of information to give back to you and yours. I will put myself forward to you and yours the best way to help resolve all issues and concerns from the past and do my best on any issues and concerns in the future. I have one home here. We have one roof. Let's let Council in Chief do the best for Nipissing First Nation and elect me to be Council, Mike McColeman. Thank you very much.
Miigwech, Michael. Before we'll take a 5-minute break before we go on to the chief candidates. The chief candidates, once again, will go in alphabetical order, and they'll have 10 minutes each to say their thing. And then at the end, we'll have a meet and greet if people want to talk amongst each other and network online. Just to give you a little update, we had anywhere from a low of 37 to 100, around 100. Did it go over 100 at one point? Yes. And keep in mind that it's going to be available on the portal to be reviewed many times over. So we'll take 5 minutes and then we'll come back. By alphabetical order, Kathy Belfoy.
I'm small, but I'm mighty. Ani Bojo, Kwe Kwe, good evening, everyone. Everyone here and everybody out in the virtual world. Good evening. Kathy Belfoy Dejnakas, Garden Village, Dunjba. And I am seeking your support to be the next chief of our Nipissing Nation. I would first like to say Chimigwech for the chief and councils of past to present for working hard with the development of our strong nation to what it is today. I especially would like to acknowledge the current chief and council and the NFN Health Center programs for the stellar work they did during the most trying and unprecedented pandemic times. Miigwech for keeping us safe. I am a lifelong resident of Nipissing Nation. I have lived in Deschênes for most of my life and currently reside in Garden Village. I have also lived in Ottawa during my time studying to complete my Juris Doctor degree, so I'm familiar with living off the First Nation for sure. My grandparents were Ernest and Mary Coochie. My grandfather was also chief of our nation. My parents are Ted and June Coochie, and I have 7 siblings on and off the First Nation. I have many nieces, nephews, cousins that are in all 4 directions on and off the nation. I am married to Crystal Stevens. Crystal and I are both lawyers, and we are raising Kira and Owen in Garden Village. I also have an adult daughter, Megan, and she is married to Grant, and together they have blessed me with 3 beautiful grandchildren. I graduated from law school at the University of Law of Ottawa in 2015. Upon my return home, I ran for NFN council, and I was elected. I gained valuable knowledge and experience during my term as a councillor. Upon completion of my council term, I decided to take a break from council so I could focus on my law career. I then opened my own law practice where I determine my own schedule and perform contracts for various First Nations and political organizations throughout Ontario. I am also an agent for the Office of the Children's Lawyer. If elected, I would deliver leadership with fairness, an open mind, transparency on community issues and concerns. I will remain approachable, respectful to all, as well I will be a strong advocate for Nipissing Nation and stand up for the interests of our nation. My 30 years of employment has involved Indigenous social justice. I began a career in justice as a court worker with the Indigenous Friendship Center movement, then moving on to working for Nipissing Nation to work for the Ojibwe Women's Lodge, and Nipissing Nation as the band representative for child welfare. During these employment opportunities, I was able to meet and develop strong community connections in and surrounding our nation. The 7 grandfather teachings are something I work to achieve every day, and I teach my children. Respect, kindness, and truth are the teachings that should be first and foremost in a leader, and I will ensure to remain approachable, attentive, and respectful when addressing community concerns and working with fellow council members and Nipissing Nation staff. If I am elected, together we will take immediate action to engage a strategy in collaboration with police services and addiction mental health programs on the drug issues in the community. We will explore all options together and implement our plan to address the community's concerns related to drugs and crime in our community so we can all feel safe again. Increased education and awareness to lower recruitment of our youth into the drug industry and the lifestyle. Increase the capacity of our addiction and mental health programs and the lands-based program. The lands-based program for such an important issue has 1 person. Together we can empower our nation to be stronger and healthier. Business development is important for the nation, as well as fair supports for member entrepreneurs. Increase the capacity for small business creation and supports to continue to grow our own NFN economy. First Nation economic development is important for improving the material standards of living. By breaking down the barriers of our own economic development, we can all benefit. Nipissing Nation is a progressive community and is moving strong in a positive direction. Self-governance and creation of Nipissing Nation laws to exercise our rights in all aspects of living for the betterment of Nipissing Nation will remain to be pursued. Under the Anishinaabeg Nation Self-Government Agreement, NFN laws for citizenship, child well-being, culture, language, election, financial management will now be recognized. We have the power to begin the process. Nipissing Nation will make stronger efforts with updating and creating NFN policies that are beneficial to meeting the needs and interests of the citizens of today. I will work for on and off reserve membership to address issues and secure supports and services to bridge the gaps. Nipissing Nation has been developing and implementing many programs to increase our Bising, Nishnabemwan, and cultural practices. There are many language and cultural carriers in our community, and we can continue to learn from them and gain their knowledge by increasing resources. Nishnabemwan language and culture will continue to grow in strength by increasing our Bising historical research and program resources. Land claim issues, investments, future lands will be determined by thorough, transparent assessments, community engagement sessions, and appropriate, proportionate input. There are valuable programs for our children and youth and families in our nation. Our children, my children, love the programs that they are currently being offered. There is lots of great work being done. I see this steadily increasing. These programs are valuable in the development of these young minds and giving them the best childhood memories and making those important lifelong friendships. These programs are vital to the healthy growth of our nation, and I support the children and youth programs. This will be an investment in the future of our nation. The health programs of our nation, as mentioned before, are stellar. We will make certain these programs are maintained at optimum levels to continue to provide programs and supports in a holistic manner for the well-being and needs of all. Employment and training programs and policies can be refined and increased to ensure our members are a priority. Seniors have expressed the need to have a safe space to call their own, to socialize and have programs to enhance their safety and enjoyment of life. Creating a safe space for our senior members to socialize and feel safe in our community is important. This will be something we must achieve sooner than later. We need to get back to the grassroots of how we used to mingle and visit, socialize, check in with each other. This social aspect has diminished, especially since the pandemic. Let's reclaim those important connection practices. In going door to door during this campaign, I reconnected with so many people and was introduced to many more. I even found more family. I didn't know them. I've expanded my family. People love to share, and I say miigwech for everyone sharing with me during this campaign. I still have some visiting to do. With my experience and qualifications, I believe that I will be the perfect fit as Nipissing Nation's next chief. I will always be a fierce advocator, keep the communication lines open for our members, and transparent on community issues. I am community-minded, community invested. I humbly ask, when you vote, put your mark on the #1 candidate for chief, Kathy Belfoy for chief to work for Nipissing Nation. Miigwech.
Big watch, Kathy. Rodney, Commanda, can you come forward?
This is me using technology to our, actually, I didn't have any paper to print out. But anyways, Ani bonjour. My name is Rodney Commanda. I am born and raised here on Nipissing First Nation. Spent most of my life here in Taganing, but I have worked off reserve like many of you. Many of our membership. A lot of the things that we have done is, I'm losing my space here because the technology is not catching up to me. I want to say miigwech. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. And for those of you viewing online, Nishna, I'm here as a candidate to be your Gima, your chief. This responsibility is respected as the highest office of service that we have for our nation. It is an honor for me to stand here and offer my voice to be that of your leader. Should you choose in the upcoming vote, I promise that I will do my best to represent you in this office in all aspects required and then some. I don't mind taking a moment to mention that 10 minutes is not a lot of time to tell you the information that I believe that you need to know about me. For me to manage this, I will keep things simpler. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story about a very passionate young man who is considered to be both honorable and respectful. I'm going to move this down. I'm sorry. And respectful. A man who has invested many years in studying the seven grandfathers' teaching and learning the ways of our culture through practice and participation. Unfortunately, we live in a time that threatens our society. And if I'm to be forthright in this story, it is a time faced with difficult decisions about what to do to ensure our culture, our society has a future for generations to come. They say that our culture is tied to the language, and the language is tied to the land. So far in our story, we are doing our best to preserve our language, and we are doing our best to revive our culture. But we haven't followed the path we were told, and time is running shorter than what is being considered. Our land programs need to be prioritized at the highest level in order to complete this circle. We have to invest in our society as a whole or risk losing the intrinsic identity we hold dear. Putting our story into perspective is what brings me here today. I believe that your story is my story. And when our story is told into the future, it is going to be a story of an eventful time that we faced the day to save ourselves for an unknown future. Tonight, I stand here as your candidate to create pathways and to get us there. The future that is inclusive with clarity and free of the ties that bind us to a complicated path. Over the years, it has been my honor to have served at many sweats and at many ceremonial fires. That throughout our culture, we show respect to our honored ones who have passed on to the next realm of our ancestors. My education, I believe in education. I'm a strong advocate for it. Personally, I'm a graduate with an advanced diploma in business administration with training as a policy assistant and an internship in economic development. I have certificates in leadership development, native alcohol and drug prevention, critical incident response, suicide intervention, prevention, and emergency management, all of which mean really next to nothing if you don't use them. Fortunately, I was able to bring some of these skills to task. The unfortunate nature of that was that I brought them to task to help my family. The story of my family is a lot different than most. Actually, it's really not that much different. Lost my computer. My computer just died. Anyways, the story of my family is quite in depth. Today, I'm celebrating the second day of my daughter's path to sobriety. And that is a big thing for us. We all have family members who are, that we love and that are, that are in crisis and are moving towards, a day where we won't see them anymore, and that's the day that we all fear. And I have lived my time to serve her, to serve my children, to save them in the last 5 years. This is a pandemic that we just faced. It was just a stepping stone to really open our eyes to the problems that our nation is facing. And we need to look at these things with a lot more deeper eyes. My computer died on me while I was talking. Sorry, it rang the bell. We need to look at our future with deeper eyes. Like years ago, a discussion came forward about bringing up an elders council. And that had a lot, it had some traction at first, and I don't know what happened, why it was never followed through with, but it is something that I think that we deeply need in our community to provide that guidance for our leadership, because they hold everything, our elders. How we did things, how we do things, how we move forward with what we're doing. We could have used them when we were designing our fisheries laws, because there's so many things in there that I see that weren't even discussed. The fishermen, there was a lot of things, but anyways, I don't want to get into that. I didn't want to talk about politics. I just want to talk about moving into the future, what we could do moving forward. One of the things I was thinking of is one of the things I would like to see happen is build that elders council and integrate that into our leadership. Another thing I'd like to see is development of our health community. Get a wellness center going. A wellness center is something that is positive. It doesn't bring negative. It's a positive thing. It can be used to tie in our culture, the cultural things that we have missing in our life, even in people's day-to-day lives. We have meetings that happen in our community where our communities come in for sewing classes and stuff like that. Build that in. We need things to happen. I've talked to people. They want to learn about building a canoe. They want to learn about what it takes to build a bow and arrow. Just the simple things. And what's stopping that? We need to grow our economy. I don't even know if a lot of people realize what an economy is. An economy is when you circulate money into an area and it stays there. It doesn't leave. It circulates and it continues circulating. We should be like rock stars here. There should be businesses lined up all the way along the shoreline. I'm just, it's a little much, but you know what I mean. And for that to happen, we have to have an infrastructure. And that infrastructure can also support the development of homes. We used to have a rent-to-own program for the housing department. And somewhere along the lines, that program was stopped. No idea what happened to that, but I'd like to see that get going again. We need that. Sorry. What do you call? You always throw me off with that little shaker there, Fred. Sorry. Anyways, you get the gist of what I'm talking about. There is so much more that we are and that we can do. We live in a time where we can clean up the internet. We can clean up all the things that are clogging up our web page, right? If you go on there and you look under policies, you will find every single policy we have. Now, but if you're looking for something specific, you can't find it. I asked my mother last night, what is the one thing that's stopping you from going on there? She says getting lost. She keeps stepping back. She's just, I said, I want to go, I want to look. I said, there's things I need to know, but I'm afraid. And she's in her 70s now, 80s. And it's the things that those things are going to tie us down. Anyways, my name is Rodney Commanda, and I'm putting my name in for your vote for chief. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Rodney. Mariana Coochie, is she still here? Okay.
Well, good evening and welcome to those who are here in the audience as well as those online. Now, I know the experience of going online and trying to hear meetings, that it's not the best. We need to do something about technology here. I was in Jucko Point last week, and the IT communication or the IT doesn't work out there very well. So we need something like that. Now, it sounds, I'm another coochie. There's lots of people who are related to my grandparents, Joan and Edna Coochie. And I love those two people. They were so good. Very, very grounded. Never heard them say a bad thing about anyone. Now, for those who don't know me, I did, and excuse me, I've got a cold. That's why my mask is down here. And I have a stack of Kleenex. For those who don't know me, I live in Duchesne Creek. I grew up on the reserve, and I spent many a year away working, going to school. And when I came back, I ended up living in town. And then I served on the board for the North Bay Indian Friendship Center for many years. Huh, my goodness sakes, where am I going with this? I want to thank my daughter, who's a very good supporter of me. Her name is Katie Coochie, and she's been helping me with my media platform. She's been managing it for me. Every now and then she'll send me a bunch of questions from people who are wondering what's going on. What about this RHT money? And I know that issue has torn apart our communities. And I want that opportunity to bring our communities back together. I want the opportunity to restore the belief in chief and council. No, it's not been well lately. So, you know, we need that. I don't like it when people say, "Oh, I don't trust them." And I think, come on now, you know, you've got to believe in your government. I know it's been difficult with all the issues, but, well, I'm running on communication, accountability, and transparency. By communications, I mean there will be clear direction, clear communication of the issues. People will know what's going on before it happens. We will do consultations with people if I'm elected as your chief again. I believe in that. We need clear policy, clear communication. We need a lot of accountability in our government. And I've heard people talk about our website, and trust me, it's not friendly at all. You go to find out information, and you get nowhere. You don't get the information that you need. So we need to have someone in charge of the web page to revise it and make it more friendly. Now, I've heard a lot. Well, I try to go door to door each time I run for council. I served 9 years as your chief, and before that, I was the deputy chief for 3 years. I believe in Nipissing First Nation. As chief, I was so proud to be able to say, yes, we are a good team. And it was the staff, the council, and the community members who would pull together and pull off those amazing events. Good, strong policies that many other First Nations wanted to borrow from us. And we gladly share that information. We never denied a First Nation. that experience that we went through and the product that we produced. That's a double, the product that we produced. You know, that doesn't sound quite English to me. But, you know, and I've heard so often about the need for mental health services for those who are facing or recovering from addictions. We need to be open, to put out a hand and say, look, okay, you're having trouble right now. Talk to me. So it's just that communication with people. We need volunteers. Somebody who's been there knows what it's like. So often I hear about, and Rodney mentioned that, about that affordable housing. We need to have a return. People can't afford. And you know what, I'm surprised? People are talking about economy. I'm surprised at how many bed and breakfast places there are for people who are not from our reserve, and it's on lakefront properties. I've knocked on doors and I talk to people and they say, oh, I'm just here for the weekend. Oh, I'm here for a month or so. But it's that kind of economy that is not good for us. People need houses, and we need to do something about that. We were a very strong, wealthy First Nation, and we can be that again. Whoop. Sorry about that out there in the internet world. But it's, you know, it's not, where was I going with that? My goodness, this cold has me all befuddled tonight. And I apologize. But I was saying we can be strong again. I was so proud of our staff, of our community, and our council, because we pulled together. We were a team. And I like that approach. I want to bring that back again. I don't like it when people complain about our staff. They say, they never return the calls. And that's not fair. And I tell them, well, come on now, give them a break. They'll get back to you. But they do. They still complain. And that's not right. We are accountable to our First Nations. As a chief, I will not get out in front of you. Excuse me. Okay. I will try to consult. And I want to put out clear messages. If it's something of importance that people need to vote on, then you'll get a communication in the mail with a self-addressed envelope, stamped. So all you have to do is just fill out the survey and send it in. So on July the 5th, or even those who are voting online now, and at the advance polls, I am asking that you consider me as your chief again. So, miigwech.
Miigwech, Mariana. Can I ask Darlene Jangra to step forward, please?
Hello, everybody. My name is Darlene Jangra. I'm from the Red-tailed Hawk. I live in Yellick, Nipissing Reserve. I am running for the honor and privilege of being your next chief, your next GIMA of our beautiful Nipissing First Nation. Change is something difficult, but change is a sign of progress and healthy and needed. As I believe now more than ever, as your chief, you, the members, will be the priority in the decision-making that we need to be reunited as a community. We need to be reminded that we are all related. I am a family and community-minded person. My grandparents were also John and Edna Coochie. My grandmother was a Roland. My mom is Barbara Coochie Joler, who grew up in Duchesne. I worked as a psychiatric nurse for 22 and a half years. And I recently attended Nipissing University for social work and a minor in Native Studies. I have 6 grandchildren that I truly adore, and I am also a proud aunt of many nieces and nephews. I am acutely aware of the ongoing trauma and intergenerational trauma from residential day schools in our community, as well as the 60s and now the millennial scoop. We are also still facing continuous various ways in which the federal and provincial governments try to assert their control over our communities. I believe if we maintain our focus on the strength of our elders, story and knowledge keepers in our community, and we honor the collective talent and the brilliance that we have within Nipissing, we can accomplish anything together. I want to rectify the ongoing division that is occurring, help our nation to heal, and provide leadership that is patient, open to listening to members, available feedback, and live the 7 grandfather teachings in action and not just words. I am not a perfect person. I too have made mistakes, and I will make more. But I can and will be humble enough to learn from them and to take responsibility. There has been much hurt and too many negative comments that have occurred both in person and online. The RHT is on the forefront of everybody's mind, and it could have been handled with more transparency to alleviate a lot of the worry, confusion, and discontent, and a lot of the harm that has occurred. What should have and could have been a time for celebrating amongst our nation of all 21 nations involved in this settlement has instead become a time of stress, division, and uncertainty. Refusing to engage with members shows a lack of respect and trust, especially with elders who hold a special place for us and with our youth, who are our future. The issue of the RHD has shown so many fractures in our community, and this should have been addressed a long time ago. A leader is supposed to be calm and assist those that they are leading, not to add frustration and tension. If answers were not known, there is no shame in saying so. This would have stopped all the speculation that happened. Instead, members continue to receive mixed messages that changes. Elders were left out during a freezing day in February instead of being invited indoors for a conversation. And our youth feel as though they matter less due to the age-based discrimination. A council member was ignored at a CNC meeting. Some members are fearful that they may end up with less due to not having their status for as long as others. And members are holding that nothing is up for discussion any longer. This is not a democratic, nor is it a line within our NFN constitution. As your chief, I will be brave enough to have an open door policy because I love our community. I will be respectful to elders, and I will have the courage to be honest about what I truthfully do and do not know, as well as having the wisdom to listen to members. I have listened to band members, both on and off reserve. We have many concerns as a nation. I have done my best to also consult members and have input from members from each of our original 5 clans and later 7 clan system, as I think it is important as we move forward more to our self-governance model and away from the Indian Act and the model of CNC incorporate our traditional system. The consultation and advice from many members are important to me. I am also supportive of another review of our election code, as one has not been done in several years. So that way, we may examine the possibility and the need for representation of council on off-reserve members, as they are the largest portion of our membership, and they do need to be represented on council. And this was feasible during the pandemic via Zoom or other online methods. This is something I am open to looking into as chief with a community together. It is also incredibly important that here in our community on reserve, that we continue to expand on affordable housing with CMHC and the Indigenous Services Canada, and making housing available in multiple ways for members to buy, rent or lease, and also long-term care for our elders as well. I plan on also continuing to enhance the right path counseling and prevention services to address the ongoing drug and alcohol abuse, as well as looking to work with more community partners for more preventative strategies. Another key area of focus that will be important as your chief is school funding. The high cost of living and inflation has made things difficult on our students. Students need to be able to focus on completing their studies and not worrying about losing their housing or where their next meal will be coming from. And many are having to take on full-time jobs currently. I will be examining the budget to see what we can do to assist with increasing the cost of living allowance for students and where we can assist. Members that work on reserve have also brought to my attention there are concerns of feeling undervalued, unsafe, and a desire to contribute to CPP. I will need an opportunity to have an in-depth look at finances, examine how payroll is being allocated, and where these potential discrepancies that are being stated are arising from. One of my first goals as chief will be to have a forensic audit of NFN finances completed to ensure that we are being transparent and fulfilling our fiduciary responsibility as members. I strongly feel that this is important and that members feel valued for their work, and I am almost open to discussing change. Members that want to pay into CPP should have that option, and this should be explored further as to why it currently isn't. All workers have a right to a safe workplace, and as a chief, I would like to work together to ensure that staff are safe. As your chief, I will continue to advocate for our rights to be upheld, to oppose Bill C-53, and work with our allies against AOO trying to make claims on our territory. I will also continue to work with you on citizenship laws that determine our future and our future generations, and not the colonial government, as we know where we come from. I will be looking into the moose hunting that is being overhunted and that may possibly do to protect our population's nation's consumption for sustainability and opposed for profit. A review will be considered as members have shared some families don't have access while others are making profit of selling moose to retail stores and numbers of moose are going down. This is not our traditional way. Miigwech, vote for Darlene.
Miigwech, Darlene. Thomas Lambert, please come forward.
I could probably see. Anin, Tom Lambert, Dijacas, Bising Dojaba. Bonsoir tout le monde, je m'appelle Tom Lambert, je suis un citoyen de la nation Nipissing. Good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Lambert. I'm a citizen and a resident of Nipissing Nation. No, it's truly an honor to be standing here before all and to have been nominated by our citizens to run for chief of our nation. And to give you a little bit of background of where I'm from, I actually reside in Stern Falls most of my life. I come from a family, we were 8 children, we're 4 boys, 4 girls. And my career started off with the federal government. So 20 years I worked for the federal government. I worked in every aspect of the office, from client service rep to management of programs to selection referral officer, you name it, delivery of social programs. After 20 years of service, I felt that, it was time for me to come home. I felt that my calling was to return home and actually assist and help our citizens. To give them those opportunities. Basically training, skills, which then in the end result, which would be employment, sustainable, long-term, a career. So I've been with Nipissing Nation since 2005. So I'm actually starting almost my 20 years. And, I've seen being within the organization for this long amount of time is that, in our community, we're like a divided nation. There's loss of trust, on or off, transparency, communication, truth, honesty. Our ancestors, our goatmisses and showmisses are looking down on us. It's not the way of the 7 grandfather teachings, our culture, our traditions, or our values. As this Anishinaabe, we're supposed to be a family, a team, a community that's united, support one another, stand alongside each other, and moving forward as one down the path that our ancestors have cleared for us. That we must clear for our future generations and our future leaders. Our ancestors and goatmisses and showmisses have always taught us there's always solutions to challenges. How this is done? Planning, strategizing, gathering, communication, gaining our citizens' trust, transparency by sharing information, inclusion of our citizens, allowing them to speak and to hear their voices. These are changes that we must address, and then that would be gradual. Meeting with a lot of our citizens has showed, or especially our elders and our youth, they feel that they're looking in from the wayside. The ways I want to see changes, or would like to see changes, is possibly gatherings, consultations, quarterly. Do it in groups. Do it with our seniors or elders. Sit there with our parents and the adults. Sit there with our youth and our children. Give them an opportunity to talk. Share ideas, update them, which is transparency. Once you start gaining that trust, then we get everybody together. As a one big family like we used to be. And at that point, you teach our younger generation, not stand behind each other, but stand beside each other and look ahead. Who's ahead of us? Those are our knowledge keepers and our teachers, which are our elders and our seniors. We're one big family. Once again, we should not be walking behind each other. We should be walking beside each other as a family. And as a leader, we must also look at, we are a team, a family, to be more involved in the community. And as we sit there in council chambers, again, as a team, a family, discussing, addressing issues, addressing items prior to the decision-making for the leaders to share their thoughts. And when it comes down to the decision-making, the leaders must take into consideration the citizens when rendering their sound decision. Once again, it's for the betterment of the community. And the leaders must be neutral and focused when entering the council chambers. The leaders can't be influenced or intimidated in any way. Once again, when rendering their sound decisions, must take into consideration, again, the citizens. We're rendering decisions there on behalf of the community, our nation, our citizens on and our citizens off. The leaders represent the citizens and are there for the betterment of the nation. You know, as an Anishinaabe, we were always taught that we must care for our children who are our future leaders, our seniors and elders. Our seniors and elders have cleared the path for our nation. It's time that we must now care for them, as our future leaders will do to care for us. They are our teachers, our knowledge keepers, and must always respect them and always respect one another. And as leader, what I foresee is that after speaking with many of our seniors and elders, they're being bounced around here and there. Regarding their crafts or social meetings in between them. You know, as they helped us, we should be helping them, which is then also looking maybe at their own little home, where they could have their events, their crafts, meetings, gatherings. So we should be looking at that, at least give them that. This gives them also, it shows us, shows to them that we respect them and they done well for us. They cleared this path for us. Children, same, keep them active. We have to look at other than, we have a large community, it spans 33 kilometers, but we also have to give them activities, whether it be, and maybe looking at an outdoor rink for them, or also assisting more in maybe other sports, other activities they could participate in. So these are things we've got to look at. Once again, also there's a lot, basically is we're so divided as a community. And what brought us there basically is the land claim trusts, the lakes, basically also regarding the Robinson-Huron Treaty annuity, and the legacy funds. There are other more important things that we should be dealing with than just counting on this. These funds have guidelines and only have terms, conditions, and probably defined area or areas that these funds can be utilized. Well, this should be shared with all our citizens of our nation, on or off, for transparency. There should be individual budgets, clearly showing where funds are at, interest, categorizing details, expenditures, should these funds be utilized, whether infrastructure, economic growth, development, establishment of a business, a plan, be in place to be provided to the citizens on and off our nation before leaders render a decision. Inclusion, transparency, communication, and we must justify, and it must benefit the community as a whole. And please keep in mind that our teams will always seek additional funding. So some of our programs, some of our projects are funded by the federal and provincial governments. We'll always seek that first so we can stretch our dollars. So make you aware, we have excellent teams. And we wish to keep them. This is another issue we're facing. We have highly qualified individuals And to keep our staff, we do require, we're looking at hopefully a reasonable fund, a reasonable salary, so we can keep our professionals here. Jimmy Glitch.
Miigwech, Thomas. Last candidate to speak for tonight, Scott McLeod, please come forward.
Anin Kinawea, Zongabwe Dijnakas, Bizing Dunjaba. Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott McLeod, current chief for 9 years at Nipissing First Nation. And tonight, I humbly ask you for your confidence to allow me to once again serve you as chief of Nipissing First Nation. Experience and strong leadership is what I have to offer. Over 12 years experience in a political leadership role. Starting in 2003, I was first elected as a council member for Nipissing First Nation. At that time, I took on the natural resource portfolio, which centered around the poor state of walleye populations and the need for proper management of our commercial fisheries activities, as well as holding the province accountable for their role in the management of Lake Nipissing. In 2015, I was elected by you to be chief of Nipissing First Nation. At this time, we were faced with an even further deterioration of walleye population to a point of near collapse. There was an urgent need to implement swift measures to reverse this downward trend of the fishery. As a result, in 2015, we entered into a memorandum of understanding with Ontario outlining our rights and jurisdictions over the fishery and the roles and responsibilities of both the province and Nipissing First Nation in regards to the management of Lake Nipissing. Since then, under my leadership, we have reversed the declining populations and brought the fishery to a healthy state. This has directly translated into a healthy fishery that not only increased commercial catches for our members, but also dramatically increased the opportunities for recreational fishing for all our member families. This work must continue with strong, experienced leadership in order to keep our lake healthy and providing for us as it has done since time immemorial. In December 2019, we were taken by surprise and hit with a new infectious disease we all know today as COVID-19. Unlike anything we have ever experienced in our time, this pandemic brought us into uncharted waters. With the tireless work of our health staff and strong, experienced leadership, we managed to navigate through some of the most stressful times our community has ever experienced in recent history. But with our professional staff and strong leadership, we kept our community safe. We developed safety protocols, provided financial assistance, increased our food security, expedited access to all vaccines, and communicated all pandemic updates in real time. There was, and perhaps still, much debate over the severity of the pandemic and the measures that were in place. However, there is no question of the ability of Nipissing First Nation to respond to any emergency situation because of our well-trained staff and because of our strong leadership. During the 3 years of COVID, our work continued seamlessly. In April of 2021, we signed the Anishinaabe Nation Governance Agreement, also known as the ANGA. This agreement took jurisdiction and lawmaking authority over 4 key areas out of the archaic Indian Act and into the jurisdiction of Nipissing First Nation. These areas include culture and language, band operations, elections, and last but certainly not least, citizenship. Since then, we have increased our program and budgets to provide additional staffing and increased language learning opportunities for on and off reserve, as well as creating staff positions for governance coordination to do the necessary work. We have also struck up a citizenship committee to develop our own citizenship law that will replace the Indian Act ban list, and we are now in control of our membership list, and soon our law will be in place.
This law will replace the one parent, will be replaced with a one parent rule rather than the 6162 Indian Act rule designed to legislate us out of existence and to assimilate us into the generalized population of Canada. This work is vital to our nation's future and requires strong, experienced leadership to see it through to completion. As I've already mentioned, we have expanded our language programs in order to increase our language speakers and promote language retention at all age levels. Our committed staff works tirelessly on behalf of our nation, and it is vitally important that our leadership continues to support their efforts. In May of this year, the Robinson Huron Chiefs earmarked $255 million to go towards language retention in our 21 First Nation communities. It is extremely important that we maintain oversight and input on how and where this money is spent. In 2013, we settled our boundary claim with the federal government for the sum of $124 million. At that time, the province refused to come to the table to discuss a settlement with Nipissing First Nation. Since then, we have succeeded in getting Ontario to the table to negotiate a settlement that will see our reserve lands double in size. We are getting close to completing the necessary work needed in this process, and it is important to ensure that we have uninterrupted momentum to maximize the benefits that our nation is rightfully entitled to. Now, there is no question that NFN is plagued with a drug addiction epidemic. However, this problem is not unique to Nipissing First Nation, but rather it is a worldwide epidemic. The unfortunate reality about this problem is that there is no silver bullet solution. But addiction research continues and progress is being made every day with new methods of treatment constantly evolving. But what do we do right now? I believe we need to do a comprehensive review of our current practices to determine which practices are actually working and which practices are not. From this comprehensive review, we can start to develop a new drug strategy which builds on our successes while moving away from the practices that have not worked. We need to involve all departmental services that have a role to play in the recovery process, not simply the health department or the police department. We need to draw on the experiences of those who are recovering. And just as importantly, we need to consult with those who are afflicted and currently suffering to find out how we can support them. Lastly, we need to invest more into the front end of this problem and increase our prevention programs. We must create more safe spaces for our youth where we can offer them stability and healthy choices that they may not be getting at home. We need to have counseling services for our vulnerable youth to deal with their trauma before those issues turn into addiction issues. Recently, as you all know, we have settled the landmark court case decision of the Robinson Huron annuities claim for $10 billion. This work did not happen overnight, and it involved many hardworking individuals, most notably Mike Restool, but also the litigation management committee, the litigation team at Now Gabo Corbier, and all the elder and expert witnesses. But we cannot forget the 21 chiefs of the Robinson Huron Treaty who played a huge collective role in reaching this settlement from the very start of this case. Without this leadership, this settlement would not have been possible. And I am extremely proud to be one of those chiefs. Since 2015, when I was first elected, I was involved and I evolved as a leader among the leaders. And I played a key role amongst the 21 chiefs to help navigate us through to a negotiated settlement. Now, with this experience gained through that process, I truly believe that I have the knowledge and the skills to continue to do the work needed to successfully negotiate a settlement on the go forward, now that the past compensation settlement has been achieved. This is merely a glimpse of the work I do to improve the lives of our members both on and off reserve. In addition, I currently sit at the Assembly of First Nations National Fisheries Committee, as well as their Chiefs Committee on Charter Renewal. I sit on the Board of Directors for the Anishinaabe Police Services. I've been appointed by the 133 chiefs of the Chiefs of Ontario as spokesman to fight back against the false Métis claims in our collective territories. And I am the appointed chair of the board at Moknagon, which is the supporting body for the First Nations signature to the Anishinaabe Nation Governance Agreement. And in the last 2 weeks, I have once again been appointed by the chiefs of the Huron region of the Anishinaabe Nation to be their regional chief. These appointments recognize experience, hard work, and strong leadership, and I'm very proud of that. But make no mistake, when they choose me, they are choosing Nipissing First Nation to lead them, because that is who I represent no matter where I go, and we can all be proud of that. Miigwech.
Chimigwech to all the candidates for their ideas and heartfelt ideas of the future for our nation. We have a wonderful selection to make, and no matter what the outcome, we can be proud and rest assured that we have a good future ahead of us. So please cast your ballot. Please vote by one feather if you can, online or through mail-ins or in person. Once again, June 29th is the advance poll. July 5th is the regular poll. The advance poll times are from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Regular polls times are from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So please participate. And that's it. Mia.